everybody, and welcome to Open Studio on Cape Town TV. My name is Ashley Brand, and welcome to you guys who are watching us. Today, I am chatting to a phenomenal lady, Danolene Johanessen, and she's here to tell us about the non-profit organization that she started. When I heard the story, I got very excited because this is something that really needed to be aired, and the world needs to see what this woman is doing. Danolene, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm good.
No, I'm glad to have you. No, I'm good. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have you here. It was fun. It was amazing because how it started because I was sitting at home, and a friend of mine, Auntie Violet, she called me and she was like, I was listening to Radio Tigerberg, and this lady was interviewed, and she shared me briefly about what your story was, and I was like, I need to get this woman on the show because it was phenomenal. So tell me just a little bit about yourself. Where do you come from, and what is it that you do?
I'm from Ravensmead. I grew up in Ravensmead. I'm just a simple girl from Ravensmead, and I just really have a heart for people, most probably for children more than adults. And it's just been starting, from growing up in a community where you must know where things are not always as nice and as happy as we expect or suspect it should be. And so growing up in a community where you see how, violence and how kids are being treated, that just led to me doing what I'm doing today. And so what I'm doing today is I'm looking after the children of our communities by clothing them, putting shoes on their feet, and restoring their dignity.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, you started Royal Kids, your organization. Tell us about what was it like starting that, and you obviously started that out of your own pockets. Was it a struggle? Please share with us that experience.
I think anything that you start off with, or if anything that you start that's born from you, it will be a struggle in the beginning, because it's almost like you're giving birth to something new. And so there was that struggle in the initial stages. But it was 2012 going into 2013 where I really needed to do something with myself because I was at home for all, since my children was born, and that's really another story on its own. But my children being born and the way they were born led me to stay at home, and I needed to look after them. But then in that time I needed to do something with myself, and I thought, what is it that I need to do, or what is it that that was placed, or God has designed me to do and mandated me to do. And so I was invited to a school in Paarl to come and speak just about struggles and challenges and what we faced with, and how do we encourage our children to look at things differently. And I think at the time I thought I'm just going to talk at the school, but I believe that there was bigger purpose in me going to the school, because that led me to meeting this boy. He was about 9 years old. His name was William. And when I met William, or saw William at the gate of the school, his shoes were broken, he had a broken pants on, his jersey was joined together with safety pins. And the first thing I saw, I looked at this boy and I thought, there must be something wrong with this boy's self-esteem, because he's looking in the ground, and so there was no self-esteem, there was no dignity, because all of us, when we look good and we feel good and we dress nice, there's this sense of almost like you feel, you've got confidence and you've got self-value, and self-esteem is boosted. But when you look like that, there's this bullying at school, and so the first thing I thought, this boy's self-esteem. And so I forgot what I was doing at that school immediately. I just needed to sort out this child. And so I went to a shop, I got him some shoes, pants, and a jersey. And when I came back to the school, I said to him, now go to the bathrooms, change, and then you come back to me and give me your old stuff. And then there was just this, there was just this shift that took place at that moment. When he came out of the bathroom and he was all dressed up, he had this massive smile on his face, and he was just looking at me with a different view, and immediately I knew this was what I was born for.
This is your purpose.
And this was what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And so Royal Kids was born then in 2013, and for the last 7 years, or 8 years I think, we've managed to, with the help of bikers and friends and family, to put about 40,000 pairs of shoes on children's feet. And then in 2016, we then realized that our kids are not just going to school with broken shoes, but they actually have no school uniform. So they, like in the farm areas like Ceres and those places where there's snowing, it's snowing there. The school is here, the snow is on the mountain, and so they sit with a t-shirt on, and so there's nothing that they have to keep them warm. And so the school uniform project started.
Wow, I like the part we see the school uniform started, because this is where I'm going to. Sheets for shirts. How did this idea come about? Who came up with this concept?
Okay, so Sheets for Shirts was first, before Sheets for Shirts was born.
Okay.
We did a project with the Marriott International Group, and that's the Protea Hotels. So Marriott is the mother company, and the Protea Hotels is then the hotels underneath that company. And so they wanted to do a back to school project in 2017. I think it was end of 2016 going into 2017, just helping about 1,800 kids in 7 schools in Ceres. So we made them school uniforms, school shoes, etc. And then after that we did then a Mandela Day project, and then I thought, okay, now it's done, we're finished. I think initially I went to Protea just for a voucher, because I wanted to do a ladies' breakfast, because I needed money. You know, also mensen soos my
Ja, dis om jou te verstaan.
Because die goed kos geld.
It costs, yes.
And so we wanted to do a Women's Day project, and then I needed a voucher, and so somebody said, go and ask him for a voucher. And so that led to another conversation that actually started the back to school project. And then after that I thought, okay, Mandela Day is over, we're going to be done, you know, we're going on with our lives. But then they called me in, and so I met this lady called Josie Lyon. She's the vice president of Marriott International. And she asked me, so what is your dream? What do you want to do? You know, where you want to take this project? Is this, is this vision just a project where you want to help children? Or is this something bigger?
Do you want to take this further?
You know, do you want to take it further? And I think without vision we lack, man. We don't see ourselves going anywhere, because if there's no vision, there's no purpose, man. There's no feeling of there's something more to this than just this project. And so I started sharing my heart with her, and my heart is for the unemployed woman as well, because I always felt like it's such a struggle for our people to put food on their families' tables. And it's almost this constant fight for just belonging somewhere and having a place and stuff. So yeah, that's really where Sheets for Shirts was born.
That is amazing. I'm blown away by that. Guys, we're going to go on a short break. We'll be back shortly. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back to Open Studio on Cape Town TV, and I'm Ashley Brandt. I'm chatting to Danolene Johanessen, and she's here to tell us about a non-profit organization that she started. Danolene, I want to go back to Sheets for Shirts. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so in 2018, I was invited to this meeting, and they asked me, so okay, how are we going to become sustainable? What are we going to do to actually become an organization or a company that's been reckoned with, you know? And so an idea started forming in that conversation, where we realized that the hotels have these discarded bed linen that they, you know, use for a certain period of time, but then after a while it's actually been either sent to shelters or orphanages, etc. But then a bulk of it really just sits within the bottom of like a storage
archive
room
or something
kind of thing of the hotels. And so we started just playing around and thinking, okay, what can we do with these sheets? And then this idea came about that we can actually make school shirts from these sheets. And because it's a good quality, and after 6 months, 7 months, it's still a good quality. And so it's a long-lasting shirt. What you will buy most probably sometimes in the shop. So this whole Sheets for Shirts, turning the sheet into shirts, then developed, and then okay, so I really thought in the beginning it's just going to be a small project where we're going to make, you know, for 1 or 2 schools, like shirts, and then we're going to go on our merry way, you know, that kind of thing. But this whole thing has now developed into a larger project where we're not just doing shirts, but we actually realized, or I was thinking further than just the shirt, by thinking, how can we change the face of South Africa. And start letting our people outside of South Africa start thinking and looking at South Africa in a completely different way. And so you look at discarded bed linen or old bed linen, and it's old, it's useless, and for some of us, because we maybe have money and we have a lot, we just throw it away because it's no use anymore. But there's something so profound and so powerful that would come out of old things, and so an old thing became a new thing for somebody else.
Amazing.
And so this whole Sheets for Shirts started at that
That is
point.
phenomenal. From an old sheet to a new school shirt. Amazing. You started in 2012, and how many kids have you helped thus far?
So we've helped about 40,000 children to date. That is just school shoes. We've clothed this year alone, from January till now, 1,400 kids in Mitchell's Plain, by getting them shoes on their feet, a rain jacket, and a new school shirt.
That's amazing. And tell me quickly, who are your sponsorships or NGOs that helps you guys to provide these things for these kids?
Okay, so in the beginning it was self-sponsored. It was just family, friends, I baking cake and making biscuits and just doing fundraisers and stuff, you know. And then bikers came along, they gave money or they gave shoes. Then Protea Hotel came about, and then they sponsored the shoes, the jackets, and then the making of the shirts and the discarded bed linen. So in this year, they've then decided to change the idea and say, is there another way where we can become sustainable? So Restore SA, it's a PTY Limited, has been born from that, and it's been funded with the ESD funding, Enterprise Supply Development funding from Marriott International. So they are funding the business currently to be able to sustain us, so that we would then be able to get work in to then look after our children.
Wow. And how do you guys decide what schools get the help that you guys offer?
Okay, so in the beginning it was really a hard thing. Like, I'm a faith girl. I live by faith. I live by what I believe I need to do. I don't do anything if I don't have this conviction within my heart that this is what I need to do. And so many times in the beginning it was really self-led. I believe that I would just, just unannounced, just send me an email or send me a text and say, do you know about this school? Do you know about that school? And then send me some pictures, and then I will start researching the school, going to visit the school, and then just get to know the children and the teachers and the principals. A lot of the times in the beginning it was farm schools, and then we would do one school, big school within Cape Town, so that we will look after our own children. So that's really how it started in the beginning. Now it was, with Marriott specifically, it was the staff is allocated, most of the staff is allocated in Mitchell's Plain. And so that's why Mitchell's Plain was the area that we chose for 2019, because they felt they wanted to do something that would benefit the staff of that community.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. Please share with us some of the heartfelt moments in your experience. Like, what is it like to see these kids when they receive these clothing and shoes?
I think it's the most rewarding thing when you see, like I said in the beginning, that shift that takes place, where you realize that these children are just human beings like us, and that they could have been my own blood, you know. They could have been the one that I gave birth to. And so when you start treating them with that dignity, you know, that this is mine, it's not somebody else's, then you would give them exactly what you would give your own, that is blood. And so when I've met so many children over my journey in this last couple of years, children that has elephantitis, so they've lymphedema, where the one foot is bigger than the other and she can't wear shoes, another shoe. She walks for 15 k's to school, and so she walks with that foot in water, with cold air, wet air, wherever it's hot, in the mountains of Ladysmith, and she walks with that feet and she sits with that foot every day, and it smells and it's not nice, and they come to you and they tell you these stories like, you know, ek ruik soos 'n winkel. That changes your life forever, you know, because they don't know this, you know. If you give them a pair of shoes, that's sometimes the only shoes that they own. If you give them a warm jacket, they don't have others, you know. And you realize that our children are in need of being changed from the outside in first. So you first look at them from the outside. So if you change them and say to them, you know, you look beautiful, you know, you are special, that changes the perspective and the perception of who they are. And so then they start having this confidence that I am actually something.
Yes.
So you change the shoes on their feet. You say to them, now you walk proud. And then that changes the light in their eyes. And so you put on a warm jacket and you say, my gosh, you look so handsome today. And then that changes the way they see themselves and they think about themselves. And then we have a society that's going to be healed, man, you know. And so that changes my life forever. There was days when I didn't want to do this anymore. I will be honest with you, because there was enough money, you know.
Wow.
But that's on something for the later stage.
Wow. Guys, we're going to have to go on another short break. We'll be back shortly. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back to Open Studio on Cape Town TV. Danolene, what I find so profound about your story is that not only do you dress these kids with clothing, but you dress them with self-value, with confidence and self-love. And I think that is absolutely amazing. But with that note, I would like to know, tell me about your team. Like, how many are there, and your seamstresses, ladies that's sewing for you, how do they get on board? How did you get them to be a part of this phenomenal project that you guys are doing?
Okay, so in the beginning, like I said in the beginning, we were just sewing from our house.
Yes.
So
you were sewing from your house?
From our house. So my whole house used to stand like to the roof with shoes and uniforms, and then at the back we had machines, and then we would sew there. And then I had one or two ladies that's friends of mine that would sew from their own homes, and that's how we started with the projects. But then in beginning of this year, Marriott came and we opened up a business called Restore SA.
Yes.
And so currently we're employing about 12 people, with me included. And so there are seamstresses, ex-machinists that are amazing. We have digital people that does all the digital media, etc. And then we've got administrators and people that just looks after the company on its whole and the governance of the company. So we're two segments now. We're an NPO on the one side called Royal Kids, and then we Restore SA called it's a business. That's really purely for profits-wise, is to help more children, and then also to develop the woman that works for us. They are my family. Literally my family, not physically my family.
Not physically, but they become family.
They become my family. They became my family, because if it's not for them, I would not be here. So that's always the way I believe this is working, is that if I esteem them high and value them very high, they are going to give me the best. And so we're all going to win at the end of the day. And so as I develop, they develop. And as they develop, I develop. And so that's really the win-win situation within business for me currently. So we not just make school shirts, but we've designed a clothing range from the sheets with a bit of an African flavor to it. So we join it with a bit of sweshwe.
Wow.
So we've made men's jackets, ladies' jackets, dresses from it. Beautiful, because it's Egyptian cotton, so it's very expensive fabric, the bed linen. And it's something different, it's something unique, it's something that speaks of South Africa. And how do we restore South Africa so that people would love us again? Because all they see is negative stuff on the TV and on the radio. And so how do we change that perspective and that perception, you know? And then we also have now embarked on a new project called the Laundry Bags Project. So the hotels are removing the plastic from the hotels. And so we're making laundry bags from the old sheets.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And where are you situated?
So we're situated in Jones Street, 6 Jones Street, Watco Park, Unit 10 in Paddo. And that's where the workshop is currently working from.
That's amazing.
No more at my house.
No more at your house?
No.
So jy is nie meer so met mekaar
nie. Ja, ek dink my man is baie beter.
I like that. I like that. Tell us, what does the future look like for Royal Kids, or for you guys? What does the future look like?
So
anything new in line?
So Sheets for Shirts are moving to Joburg in 2020. We are opening up shop there.
Amazing.
Because the hotels from that area has been asking, so what do we do with our sheets? And so for me, it doesn't make sense to bring Johannesburg sheets into Cape Town, where we could have used Johannesburg sheets to service the people
of
Johannesburg,
Johannesburg,
you know.
that's correct.
So whatever, I believe you need to keep the wealth within the province. So our people need to benefit from what's in it, and then Gauteng must benefit from what's in it. The moment you cross-pollinate, and then it becomes a bit messy. So you keep the sustainability factor within that province. So 2020 will be purely looking at developing Johannesburg, putting up a workshop there, looking after a school in Joburg. We haven't allocated or decided on a specific school in Joburg, but we're doing a back-to-school project within Johannesburg in 2020. And so that's the future of Restore SA, per se. And also just Royal Kids will obviously move on its own, where I will not be so much in the board or involved, but somebody else or other people will manage that segment, because my attention is a bit more on Restore SA.
Wow. Do you have any future with regarding to empowering women?
Absolutely. I think that we need to empower our women to be able to first of all have a relevant voice in our communities, but also to know their worth, to know who they are, to know that they have an ability and a capacity, and that there's something strong and worthwhile in them, and that they not, have to hide behind somebody else to be seen or to be heard, and that we don't have to hide. We can actually stand up and say, but I'm not happy with that. I'm not going to stand for that. And start developing our own voice within our community. I think our children needs to know that we have strong women. They need to know that there's somebody praying for them. They need to know that, I've got a mother that actually knows how to be gracious, and how to be able to walk graciously. I think we have missed or lost that, is that we have just fallen into the grooves of our communities and society, and we lost our self-worth, man, because we get married and then everything revolves around children and husbands and family and house and work and cleaning, and then we don't look after ourselves. I was one of them, until I realized, but I've got worth, man.
Wow.
I've got confidence, and that we just need to find that thing inside of us again, and actually strengthen that thing, and start coming out, and then we'll see that things are going to look differently. Life is going to be different.
Absolutely. I actually like it because with empowering women, I think that also it will give the kids more strength to look up to mom, because the mother basically installed that into the kid, and it gives them the confidence with going to school and to become better kids as well.
I think the mothers need to just take their role up. Their role is to be nurturer.
Absolutely.
We need to nurture our children, man, but not that the fathers are not important. They are the most important thing, because our community looks the way they look because our fathers are not there.
Yes.
Because there's no fathers that are relevant and that's active and that are visible
in that relationship.
In the relationship. And so the mothers has to do two roles, So that's really a discussion on its own.
Amazing. Just tell us quickly, how can we get in touch with you?
Okay, so we're on Facebook on Royal Kids alone, and then Restore SA Pty Limited, and then we're also on Instagram #Restore SA, and then they can contact me on email danolene@royal-kids.co.za.
Danolene, thank you for sharing with us such a profound and beautiful story. I am very blessed by this, and Cape Town is blessed by this. Thank you for watching. God bless you. Catch us again on Cape Town Studio, Cape Town Open TV. God bless you. I'm Ashley Brand. Goodbye.
Thank you.